Hello, my name is Carrie Seeger. I'm a Regional Director of Health and Productivity at Assured Partners. Today, my counterpart, Kristen Meschler, and I will be presenting to you best practices working from home. We are certified corporate wellness specialists, and our role with Assured Partners is to work with our clients on wellness strategy. Today's topic, we found ourselves in a new environment where we are working under different circumstances, all from home. And we thought it would be great to talk a little bit about our experiences working from home. I've been with Assured Partners for 6 years, working from home that whole time. And my husband also has been working from home for about 20 years. Kristen, on the other hand, is new to working from home, so she'll get to share some of her experiences. Kristen, would you like to say hello?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, and welcome everybody. We're really excited to be talking with you today about, as Carrie said, what, especially in right now's environment, is a really important topic. I have been with Assured Partners actually this year, 10 years for me. So happy anniversary to me. And as Carrie said, most of that time I have been the typical showing up to an office, working that 8 to 5 schedule. So this is really new territory for me. And as we go through, I'm happy to share some of the fun adventures that I've had in working from home, especially with 2 small kids as well. So happy to be here and glad to be talking about this topic with you guys.
This is our agenda today. First and most importantly, we'll be talking about your new routine. So working from home does have its perks, but it's not a vacation, and setting a routine is really ideal. We'll also talk about home ergonomics. Many of us are setting up camp for the first time in a working environment. Hopefully no one's working from their couch. And we'll talk about some proper procedure in setting up that workspace and the conference call. By now you've been working from home for quite a few weeks, so you know all about the conference call, but we will talk about some of the best practices. Getting some movement in the day is important. So many of you are used to getting up and going to the printer or the lunchroom, talking to coworkers, or maybe you're in an environment where you're up talking to groups of people. And so now you need to actually learn new behavior to get movement into your routine. Also, eating to feel good can make a great difference in your productivity. And lastly, your mental well-being, going through lots of changes right now.
All right, so kind of to kick things off, when we start talking about working from home and sort of switching from a regular routine of having a schedule every day. We woke up at the same time, we got ourselves ready, we got ourselves situated, packed up and off to work. So it's really easy to fall into some bad habits when that goes away, when you can, we've all seen the memes of people just, this is me straight out of bed and at work sitting at my computer. So first and foremost, keeping a routine of some sort is extremely critical in making that work from home work for you and to be able to be your most productive self at home. What does it mean? The same as you did before. Get up, get dressed. Again, we've all kind of seen the memes, and I have to admit, I'm guilty of it myself. This idea of, okay, it's time to take off my nighttime PJs and put on my daytime PJs. But even something as simple as that, it makes a difference. You get up, you brush your teeth, you get dressed, you get ready for your day. Make sure you have a designated workspace. And you guys will get to see mine here in a few minutes. It's going to look different for everybody, and that's okay. But it's important to create a space where you can sit down and be productive. Make sure your work hours are defined. Probably one of the biggest pitfalls of working from home is that often what we find is that we can work whenever we want. Sometimes what I find is that I end up working more when I'm working from home because you kind of get in the zone, you're in your comfy space, and next thing you know, it's been hours, you should have had dinner made and you don't. So make sure you set that schedule and stick to it. You can see we've actually got kind of an example schedule. You make your own, you do what works for you, but maybe you get up in the morning, go ahead and get that exercise in, find some time Exercise in the morning is a really great way to start off your day. You get that boost of energy and you're ready to hit it. I'll be perfectly honest, I'm not much of a morning person, so I tend to work out later in the afternoon, but find what works for you. Then get up, have your breakfast, take that shower, and get to work. Midday, still take that break. Make sure you're taking your lunch break. Go for a walk, get that boost of energy in midday, and then get back to work. But the key is at the end of the day, at 5 o'clock, it's time to shut down and start your evening with your family. Be careful not to get sucked into other distractions. And maybe for some people, this is going to be news or social media, getting on Instagram and seeing what everybody else is up to. For some people, it could be things like, oh, you know, the laundry's got to get done. When you work from home, it's easy to have those distractions. Don't. Try and make sure that your work schedule, protect that schedule. Do the best you can to maintain it. And of course, drink water, drink lots of water. It's easy to kind of sit there and go hours without having any hydration at all. It's extremely important that you stick with that too. And most importantly, socialize. Just because you're not with your coworkers doesn't mean that you can't be connecting. And especially in this day and age with such great technology, maybe it's instant messenger, maybe it's email or text. But make sure you're connecting with your coworkers. You can still have a really strong team environment even when you're not physically together.
Great comments, Kristen. And I want to mention here in this example schedule, this is an area where I learned from my husband, Craig, early on, that integrating short little bursts of movement in the day, it can go a long way. So break yourself away from your computer, go for a walk around the block, come back, get back to work, and then go do it one or two other times throughout the day. And it's just a wonderful way to reinvigorate your brain and help you be more productive. Another comment on the water, many years ago, and I was with another employer at that time, I found myself camped on my dining room table, brought my laptop home to do something, and we had a cat at the time. And that cat came over, and if you know cats, how they are, they love to be friendly and hang out with their mommy and daddy. And he came over and knocked over my water glass onto my laptop and fried it. So be wary of something like that happening. All right, next, ergonomics. Okay, we understand not everyone has an office, and you're making do with what you have. You don't need to go out and spend a lot of money, but it is very important that you have the proper setup ergonomically, so that your chair is set, that your back is straight up. For me, when I'm sitting, I usually have a little pillow like this woman does here in the picture. That makes me feel better. Everyone's a little different. Make sure it's something comfortable, and that your arms are at a 90-degree angle and your eyes are looking directly at the computer. And if you happen to be a little bit on the short end, like I am, being 5'4", I have a little step stool for myself, for my feet, so that my knees are also at a 90-degree angle. This woman also, if you see in the picture, she's using either books or piles of paper to prop up her laptop so that it is at that eye level. And lastly, your mouse and your keyboard, they are comfortable for your wrists, that your wrists are not straining up or down. All right, the next few slides, I'm going to show you some pictures of some Assured Partners associates. Our team recently had a little game where we showed pictures of our workspace. And that's me on the left-hand side in my office, designated in the Assured Partners colors. Keep in mind, I've been working from home for 6 years, so I have the entire getup, and this transition has not been as difficult for me as it has other people. I have a standing desk, so I can raise and lower that. I usually start out standing. I'm standing now, and then later in the day, I tend to sit down. So it's pretty cool setup. And Kristen has her setup over here on the right-hand side. Kristen, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, as we said, we're kind of two sides of a coin here. You know, Carrie's been doing this for years, so she's got this beautiful office space that we would all love to have. For me, my office right now has historically been known as the playroom in our house. And so, I like to joke with people, I've currently got a war for territory going on. And as you can see, I am not winning. I guess maybe some positive stuff. You can see that I'm working on my ergonomics. I've got my Surface up on a couple books there so that I can look straight at my computer and, referencing back to Carrie's example. So I'm trying hard to maintain that ergonomics, but I've also got 2 young kids at home. So, the other side of my desk space in that picture is a fort. Other day, I had toys that have been on the other side of my computer. Yesterday, I sent Carrie a picture. There was a sea of action figures around me on the floor. We do the best that we can. It is also about balance, but do your best to create that workspace for yourself. And you know what? Have fun, laugh about it. I get the time I need. I get the work done, but it is kind of fun to see how everybody's workspaces look a little bit different.
I love it. Here are a couple more examples. And again, these are coworkers of ours. The one on the left-hand side, Mr. Alligator. I don't love his situation here because it looks like Mr. Alligator's chair is a little high compared to the card table desk. And so I imagine him hunching over when he's working on his reporting. The one over to the right-hand side is a nice example of a clean workspace, less any kind of distractions. And depending on the chair height, again, and the desk, you want to make sure that we're looking for that 90-degree angle. That desk could be a little bit high there. And our last 2 examples, we have some 4-legged coworkers in the picture. The one on the left-hand side, this woman created her own standing desk and is enjoying that. I don't think her 4-legged friend is normally on the desk, but it makes for a cute picture, as well as the one to the right. Okay, I'd like to talk to you about stretching. This is something that I really try to focus on myself because I notice a significant difference when I am in a good routine of stretching. I typically try to stretch in the morning before my workout and then again before bed. If I don't, I've noticed, especially in my 40s, that I become very tight. My hamstrings are tight and just feel a lot looser and better when I'm moving. And so if you're sitting more than you are normally, it's even more important to get that stretching in, do certain positions that are different and getting you moving and bending.
All right, so on to the dreaded conference call. We've all had our experiences, we've all had our mishaps, and we all know the silly things that come along with using technology in this way. But there are some things that we can do to kind of set ourselves up for success when we start having virtual conference calls, video conferences, things of that nature. And it really depends on 2 things. Are you the attendee or are you the presenter? Even if you're just an attendee, I think it's extremely important. Arrive to the meeting early. Make sure that your technology is working. Inevitably, and I was just on a call yesterday where it wasn't necessarily a video conference, but of course the webcam turns on, and individuals are trying to figure out how to turn their webcam off. Because you're really just trying to see a screen. So it's important to make sure that you get there early, set yourself up, and that way if there are any technological issues, you have an opportunity to resolve those. Announce yourself when you get into the meeting. Inevitably, it ends up being that you've got 6 people who are supposed to attend this call, you're aware of 3, you're not sure if you can start the meeting or not, you have to kind of do that roll call. I just think it's great to kind of, hey everyone, this is Kristen, I'm here, whatever it is. But try and announce yourself when you get on. And then key ingredient to every virtual meeting, conference call, put yourself on mute. If you are not talking, just go ahead and mute yourself. Oftentimes I find that, people will try to use the technology software. So for example, if you're in a GoToMeeting or a Zoom call, you have the ability within Zoom to mute yourself. I find that if you're dialing in by phone, the best thing you can do is hit mute on your phone. Sometimes people think they hit the button on Zoom and you really didn't, and so people can still hear what's going on where you are. And most importantly, pay attention. And if you're having issues, and this is something that I've struggled with, sometimes somebody cuts out, you can't quite hear them, and they just asked you a question, and you have that deer in headlights moment where you're like, what do I do? I didn't really hear what they said. More than likely, other people are experiencing the same issue. So don't be afraid to say, I'm sorry, there was an echo. I didn't hear that. Or can you repeat that? We all understand. We're all in the same boat. So make sure that you're paying attention. And if for some reason you're struggling to understand or hear, don't be afraid to say that. Likely there's an issue that can be resolved. For the most part, this is the same if you're the presenter, although it does, change a little bit because of course the pressure's on you. You're the one who's leading this call. You're the one who's presenting material. So the best thing that you can do is be prepared. I always do a practice session because I want to make sure that I'm very comfortable using the software, using the technology. So do a practice session, run through. Typically, this is something that you can do on your own, or maybe ask a coworker. Carrie and I have done that before. Hey, I've got to do this meeting. Do you mind to just give me maybe 5-10 minutes just to make sure this is working the way that I think it will? Of course, like I said before, arrive early. If you're the presenter, really you need to be the first one there. So give yourself that extra time to get there. And make sure that you've prepared your background and your camera. A perfect example is myself. If you look behind me right now, I've got this beautiful cabinet, this little hutch behind me that has all kinds of nice stuff. I told Carrie that as of yesterday afternoon, this was covered with toys and board games and all kinds of other stuff. But of course, I knew that I was going to be presenting today, and I wanted to make sure that you guys weren't looking at a bunch of kids' toys behind me. So I did exactly that. I prepare my background. I make sure that what I want to be reflected during the meeting is what's reflected during the meeting. And what I will say is, if you are hosting a meeting where you have more than 5 participants, best thing you can do is go ahead and mute everybody. So if you can have a setup with a GoToWebinar where you can just go ahead and mute all your participants, that's extremely important. For any of you who have kids that are doing virtual learning right now, we've all been a part of some of those calls where you've got 20+ kids all talking at the same time. If there's a way for you to mute everyone, go ahead and do that, especially when you have groups over about 5.
Yeah, great tips, Kristen. Another thing that I found in my history of working from home, my family is pretty good about when they come in, they look to see if I'm on a call. But if I'm on something like this where I'm recording and it might be a little bit more important, I have a self-made sign that says recording, I'm on a call, do not disturb, and I stick it to the door so that they know to be extra careful with sound around me. Also, another thing I've noticed is that if you're using earbuds frequently, make sure you keep an eye on them because they can get a little yucky with some earwax. You can take a Q-tip, a little bit of alcohol on the Q-tip, and clean those out regularly.
So not sure if any of you guys have had a chance to see any of the fun memes or videos in this particular instance, but Carrie and I have seen this video before. It's called A Conference Call in Real Life. If you have interest, it's on YouTube. We will include it with the handout so you can link directly to it and watch this video. It's short. I don't even know that it's 5 minutes. But it's kind of hilarious. It's the idea of what if a conference call were actually happening in real life, live with people. And it is hilarious. We can all relate to it. We've all been there. So when you have a few minutes, give it a watch. It's really great. The only other thing that I would add about just conference calls is, and especially coming from someone who does have 2 small children who can provide the greatest of distractions during a meeting. Don't be afraid to share with folks, hey, I'm at home. Pardon me if you get any background noise. I do have kids around, and just forgive me if you hear anything. we're all there, even if we don't have kids. We probably know small kids, we have nieces, nephews, whatever it might be, so we understand. So don't be afraid to kind of let folks know, hey, this is my situation, and forgive any distractions, and I'll do my best to keep us moving.
That's a good one. Okay, so you found yourself sitting a little bit more. Study shows that 8 hours of sitting means you need 1 hour of pretty moderate intensity exercise to negate all the negative effects that does on our body. Our bodies were not meant to sit for 8 hours, so we need to really be proactive. And as we showed earlier in this presentation, creating that schedule and really integrating the movement is important. This is hyperlinked into the handout, and it is a whole month long of exercise videos that Chris and I have pulled from YouTube. They're all free, they're short, they're sweet, lots of variety here. Maybe you're already using YouTube and you have some of your favorites, but if not, I strongly suggest that you log into YouTube, fire up some of these links, and then YouTube will start showing you recommendations moving forward. So I guarantee before long, you'll find your favorite workout instructor, and a great way to keep your exercise routine at a variety with HIIT workouts, yoga workouts, stretching, anything that you want that's out there.
All right, so again, how do we not only take care of ourselves from a productivity standpoint, but how do we take care of ourselves from a mind-body standpoint? We just talked a little about that importance of movement, but that's not the only piece that's important. We've also got to take care of ourselves nutritionally. And Carrie and I are big believers in eat. Feed your body. Your body runs on fuel. And so what you feed it is extremely important. Now, hey, we're also all in the same boat that it's a lot easier to snack now that we're at home. And so we can certainly make some of those decisions, and that's okay. It's okay to splurge once in a while. But what I would recommend is, just like, you've sort of seen a theme as we've gone through here, and it all comes back to planning. The same can be said for your diet and what you're feeding yourself. Planning is key. So we really recommend kind of taking some time before the start of your week and be thinking about, what is it that you're going to eat? What does your schedule look like? Can you do a little bit of meal prep? What are you going to be having for lunch? I would also point out, I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but when you break to eat, try to take a break. Try to actually remove yourself from your workspace and spend some time feeding your body. That's extremely important. Again, the focus should always be on highly nutritious foods as much as is possible. So again, we know that we get the basis of our nutrition from plants, so fruits, vegetables. Really try and load up on that. It is easy to sometimes go with those quick, more processed foods to snack on, but it's just as easy to grab a piece of fruit or have a salad, or even just cut up some veggies and snack on those as well. I know that one of the things that Carrie does, and it's so delicious, is she'll get a bunch of vegetables and roast them, and then she's got them for the whole week, and she can kind of snack on those. It's delicious. You can make yourself some hummus if you want. I love hummus. It's easy to whip up in any basic blender. There's some really great recipes out there. And that's something too, that if you get a little sick and tired of eating vegetables, maybe if you could spruce them up with something like that, that can really help. Also, if you're looking for, maybe you kind of want to challenge yourself. Maybe you feel like you need some accountability in this time. We have got a ton of challenges on our guidebook, one of which we call our Taste the Rainbow Challenge. It's all about kind of challenging yourself to incorporate new foods into your diet, and really trying to hit every color of the rainbow, so to speak, with your food selections. So feel free to check those out, and maybe try and challenge yourself to incorporate some of those new and delicious foods. But it is extremely important that you're feeding your body and that you're fueling it with the best food that is going to help you power through those days at home. So another thing that we've found is oftentimes when you're working from home, you get into the zone and you find that you haven't gotten out of your chair in hours, or again, we're all struggling because we can't really get out. Socializing has been difficult. And of course, this sort of quarantine nature that we're in right now is taking its toll on everyone. So we actually created another sort of fun challenge that we're calling our work from home bingo, and really just trying to encourage people to find ways, you know, find those breaks in your day, do some fun, make the most of this time at home. So even just simple things like, doing a yoga workout first thing in the morning just to kind of help you get started with your day. Cleaning up your workspace, making sure that you're having a clean space to be productive in. But even things like, maybe setting up something with a friend so that you can have that virtual workout partner, knowing that we can't go to the gym right now and we can't necessarily meet up with our typical workout partners. But maybe we can do something fun. I can tell you on our team, myself, Carrie, and Rachel, the third member of our team, we've started doing that where we reach out to each other maybe twice a week. We have workouts that we do midday at the same time. They're short, it's nothing too long, but it helps. And it's a way to not only keep us connected, but keep us active. So trying some of these different activities can just be a fun way to, one, break up maybe the monotony of things, and two, continue to keep you connected in a meaningful way.
Okay, we'd like to wrap up this presentation talking a little bit specifically about mental health. And we're all going through the same thing, but it's all a little bit different for each of us, depending on what we have going on at home. Kristen has 2 little ones. I have 2 teenagers. Our houses are full and busy, but we know that there are many, many people out there that are all by themselves and feeling very lonely. And there are others that perhaps are sick, or they know someone else that is sick. We're all going through a little bit something different, and we want you to tap into that. I'm generally a naturally happy person, positive person, and the other night I woke from a nightmare and had some really heavy anxiety that just surprised me and made me think that I'm probably experiencing more stress and I guess unknown nervousness in my subconscious than I realized, and I should take care of that. Talk to friends, do things to help improve that as much as I can, given this environment. A diary is a great thing to have, to write down your thoughts. It may work for you. This is a little spoof on a diary that we've said, like Kristen mentioned, those fun memes that are out there. And I have to admit that one of my daughters did ask me the other day if I was taking off my daytime pajamas and putting on my nighttime pajamas. So it's a real thing. So just keep in tune with your own mental health. Your company may have an EAP, an employee assistance program. There's also a lot of power in talking to family and friends and reaching out to them. And lastly, also appreciate the little things, this extra time that we have at home with our family, maybe once in a lifetime. So enjoy it, and thank you for your time today.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.